It's down to this. They're going to sack him as he gets rid of the football, and it's going to be intercepted by Tennessee at the 10-yard line.
There will be no comeback. Tennessee wins.
Yes! Yes! Oh, yeah! Can you feel that, buddy? Huh? 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 I have exorcised the demons.
All right, let's talk about the Florida Gators. It's third game of the season, September 16th, 7 p.m. It should be a crazy crowd down in Gainesville for that game. Right now, we're favored by 7.5 points. I can't remember the last time we were favored, with that many points in Gainesville, but it's not going to be an easy game to win. This is year 2 for Billy Napier. Last year they started off pretty good, and then they lost the last 3 games of the year. But anyway, some positive news for Florida fans. As far as the recruiting, they're on fire right now. They're third in the country. I think the only teams right now that are ahead of them are Georgia and Ohio State. So some good momentum as far as recruiting for Billy Napier, and they hope to keep that going. All right, now let's talk about the Florida Gators offense. It's an offense that ranked 37th nationally last year. They averaged 424 yards a game. And a lot of that success is due to Anthony Richardson, who was drafted 3rd or 4th by the Colts last year. So, they've went out in the portal, and they've got Graham Mertz, who is from Wisconsin. This is year 4 for him. He was at Wisconsin 3 years. Last year had a tough year. He didn't have a very good year, so he's transferred out. And Florida's picked him up, and he's hoping that he can turn the page and kind of rewrite his story and end on a good note. One thing that will help him out is the fact that he's going to be able to, to turn around and hand the ball off to, to 2 really good running backs, Montrell Johnson and Trevor Etienne. They both combined for over 1,500 yards last year. So, I think, as far as running backs are concerned, they're in good hands. And as far as their offensive line, those guys that they're going to run behind, you've got Austin Barber. He was a redshirt freshman last year. He's back. They really like him a lot. And then you've got several guys in the portal that they went and picked up. Micah Maskua from Baylor. He's 340 pounds. He's a guard. You got Damian George Jr. that was at Alabama previously. He's a tackle. He's 360 pounds. They are going to really miss Cyrus Torrance. He got drafted in the 2nd round by the Bills. He was obviously a talent, and they're going to miss him. But anyway, they went out in that portal, got some big guys. Going to try to run that football, keep the chains moving, keep their defense off the field. I think that's the key emphasis there. Now, as far as passing the ball, if they do have an Achilles heel this year, it's going to be this, because I don't think Graham Mertz is the greatest passer, and they really only have, in my opinion, one good receiver now with Ricky Pearsall. Now, I will say this: he is a good receiver. He had over 800 all-purpose yards last year. He had over 100 yards against us last year. So he is a good receiver. He's got good hands. He's a good route runner. He's quick. So, it would have really helped them a lot if they had Xavier Henderson back this year, but he's transferred out to Cincinnati. So he's gone. And now, what they're hoping is that, these guys, these freshmen that they that they recruited last year, I think they've got 3 of them. They hope they can come in and make an impact. So anyway, Florida, it's obvious what they've done. They've went out the portal. They've got some hog mollies. They're going to try to run the football, extend drives, and they think, hopefully they think that'll be the way that they can win games in the SEC this year. All right, let's talk about this Florida Gator defense. Last year they ranked 87th nationally in total defense. And where they really struggled was on 3rd down. They only converted 49% of the time on 3rd down, so teams just kept extending drives. They were horrible against the pass last year. Played a lot of zone coverage. They just weren't very good last year. 6 teams scored 30 or more points on them last year. And like I was just telling you about that zone coverage, they were playing a lot last year. That was a result of Patrick Toney, who was their defense coordinator. He's went on now to be in the NFL. So they're bringing in Austin Armstrong. He's philosophy-wise, 180 degrees different. He wants to, put those corners on an island, man-to-man coverage, blitz. So we'll see how they do. I don't know if they've got the personnel to pull that off. But anyway, let's dive into the defensive line and kind of what they've got coming back and what they've brought in from the portal. So anyway, they've got Caleb Banks and Cameron Jackson. Caleb Banks is from Pittsburgh. He played some there. Cameron Jackson is obviously the steal of the portal for them. He's a stud. He was the anchor for that Memphis team last year. He had 41 tackles. He's big. He's a big guy, 355 pounds. So they're excited to have him, and that's what Billy Napier has went out and done, especially on the offensive line or defensive line. He's went out to the portal and got some really big guys, wants to set the tone on the line of scrimmage. So anyway, and then they got Chris McClellan and Desmond Watson.
Yeah, Coletto in at fullback for 2nd down and goal. From the 7-yard line, flag down, Fenwick grabbed by big Des Watson at 400.
Desmond Watson, he's around 450 pounds. He's huge. And then as far as defensive end wise, they've got Tyreek Sapp. He played some last year, started some. He played in all 13 games, but I don't think he started in a couple games. And then opposite of him is Princely Umainamele. He had 9.5 tackles for loss last year, and I think he led the team in sacks with 4.5 sacks. They said he had a really good spring. He's got a big upside about him. They think he definitely will play in the NFL. If he can have a great year, get pressure on the quarterback, it'll definitely help those young cornerbacks out. Because if that is his philosophy, is putting them in man-to-man coverage on those islands, they're going to be in a tough spot. So if they can get some pressure, that will help Florida out a ton. But anyway, let's talk about these linebackers. Shamar James, he's definitely the best linebacker returning. He's only a sophomore. He's immensely talented. He's the type of he could be a first team all SEC down the road. So he had 47 tackles last year, and like I said, he's just a sophomore. They went out and got Taraja Mitchell from Ohio State. I don't think he played much last year, but back in 2021, he had 45 tackles. He started 8 games in 2021. And I mean, if you start at Ohio State, you got to be pretty good because, they're one of the top 5 programs year in and year out. And then, Derek Wingo, he came on strong last year. He had 8 tackles, had 1 sack. I think he had a sack in the bowl game. So, they're hoping that those guys can get it done. We'll wait and see if they can or not. But they are talented, and they have went out into the portal. And they have got more depth as far as the defensive line is concerned. As far as the cornerbacks, Jason Marshall Jr., he's in his 3rd year. He started all 13 games last year. He had 29 tackles, 1 interception. He's got a lot of experience. He's definitely the best of that unit. And then they're going to be relying on some young guys to plug in there, and they hope that they can, they can swim. They're going to throw them out in the water and hope they can swim. So let's see here. Jakeem Jackson, he headlined this last class that they just signed. So he was the best of the 2023 class. They're going to put him in there. They hope, that he can do a good job for them. And then Kamari Wilson, he headlined the 2022 class. So, a lot of talent and not a lot of experience back there, but they're hoping that they can still get the job done. But anyway, my thoughts on the Florida defense. you know, they've done what they've had to do. They've went out in the portal, tried to add some pieces. I don't know how successful they're going to be. If they're blitzing a lot, putting those cornerbacks on islands, they're going to be put in a lot of vulnerable situations. So we'll just wait and see how they do. But anyway, and as far as special teams, they got Jeremy Crawshaw back. He averaged like 48 yards a punt. He's a really good punter. And as far as their kicking situation, they've got 2 guys vying for that position. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, you know, when Tennessee goes into Gainesville on September 16th, it's going to be a huge game. Tennessee could easily trip up and lose that game. So Tennessee is going to have to come to play. I think if Tennessee plays a solid game, they win that game. I do. But at the same time, it's a lot easier said than done. Joe Milton gets down there and starts throwing balls in the stands. You know, they can extend drives, running that football, you know, picking up first down here and there with some slant patterns with Ricky Pearsall and that kind of stuff, and just score enough points, they could beat us. So Tennessee needs to breathe. They need to play a solid game. You know, as long as we play a solid game, I think we do beat Florida this year, but we'll wait and see. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in to my Florida preseason preview.